Bhumika, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you are ready?
Yes, sir.
So sharply 12:05, you will start. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Bhumika, you may start. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, good afternoon to all the dignitaries, participants, and partakers. It's a wonderful opportunity for me on behalf of South Asian Institute for Advanced Research and Development to express my heartfelt greetings. Our topic for today is agriculture and sustainability. Since the end of World War II, agriculture has alerted tremendously. New technology, mechanism, increasing chemical usage, specialization, and government policies that supported maximum output and lowering food prices have all contributed to improved food and fiber productivity. As a result of these improvements, fewer farmers are able to produce more food and fiber at cheaper prices. Although these advancements have several good consequences, but have eliminated many dangers in agriculture, they have come at a greater expense, like topsoil depletion, groundwater contamination, air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions, and the decline of family farms, the neglect of farm labor living and working conditions. There are new threats to human health and safety. There are new spreads of new pathogens, economic concentration in food and agricultural industries, and the disintegration of rural communities are just a few of these issues. And there is where the concept of sustainability comes into light. Agricultural sustainability is based on the idea that we must fulfill the current demands without jeopardizing future generations' ability to meet their own. As a result, both environmental and human resource management, as well as short term economic benefits, are equally important. Social obligations such as working and living circumstances, rural community requirements, and consumer health and safety, both are now and future are all taken into account for this. And hence our topic, that is agriculture and sustainability, becomes important to discuss. I extend my heartfelt of thanks to our chairman of SAIARD, Dr. Biswajit Roy sir, to provide us with such an opportunity to conduct this seminar in this organization. Thank you, sir. And we are
Thank you,
lucky.
Bhumika. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please continue. Sir.
And we are lucky enough to have Dr. Rajesh Kumar Abhay as our special guest today on this occasion. Dr. Abhay is currently working as an assistant professor of geography at Dyal Singh College, University of Delhi, Delhi. Dr. Abhay completed all his academic qualifications from BA to PhD in geography from University of Delhi. His area of specialization includes natural resource management, sustainable regional development, and remote sensing and GIS. He is the recipient of Professor N.B. Iyer Young Geographer Award of National Association of Geographers India, held at Jaipur in 2014. He has published 4 books, a dictionary of geography, 11 research papers, and 15 books chapters at national and international level. He has presented various research papers in national and international conferences. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. This is our obligation, and this is really a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhumi.
Thank you, Bhumika, and most of on behalf of South Asian Institute for Advanced Research and Development, SAIARD. I heartily welcome Professor Abhay for joining with us and for giving his kind consent to be a part of this 6th lecture series. And also I request, I convey my sincere thanks to all the participants from the different academic institutions, those who have joined, even my esteemed colleagues. So as you know that this lecture series, we are coming into the part of 6th lecture series. From January, we have started on the different issues related to the geographical perspective, from the sustainability and different verticals. And today is the 6th lecture, and for that, and hopefully, definitely it will help to get some extra knowledge inputs to all of you regarding the sustainability, the agricultural situations right now, even the how agriculture is treated in that sense in today's sustainability goal, that is sustainable development 2030. And I request that to all of you, where you just share the link, as the link is open to all of you, as that other people also can join and can get the opportunity to hear Dr. Abhay, Professor Abhay, regarding this topic. And on behalf of our institution, once again I thanks and heartily welcome to you for being associated with us for the first time in our platform as a honorable distinguished speaker. So thank you, sir. Over to you, please.
Thank you, BRC. Thank you so much. Nice to see you again. It's always very privileged to talk to you whenever any opportunity comes and discuss certain issues related to geography and geography in India, in different parts of the country, what we can do with reference to the development of geography, development of geographical knowledge. And this is the one of the way to exchange and promote geographical knowledge to the emerging geographers. And I'm very happy to be here on this platform with SAIARD. And thank you, Bhumika, for my nice introduction. However, I'm not claiming all these things. Yes, some of the contribution. It's just a beginning. I'm about to do something. So many things has to be done. And this is the another dimension which I'm trying to understand agriculture and sustainability of India, that how we can move ahead with the issues of agriculture. We have been, I think, am I audible, BRC, properly? And my screen is visible, I hope. BRC, if you can confirm. Hello?
Yes, it's fine, completely.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So, yes, I'm also editing one book on the same issue, that how we can achieve sustainability in India. It's a big story, sustainability. That's another dimension. But today I will discuss upon how agriculture, and we can think of sustainability of agricultural land in India broadly. And we will touch upon certain topics, and I will try to make you understand some issues which can be tackled and some solutions by which we can achieve sustainability in the agricultural sector, so that, as Bhumika has already mentioned, so that we can maintain the needs and the demands of the current generation as well as of the upcoming generation. This is what sustainability is all about. Now, we have to understand the concern first. We know and we all are aware about this particular point, that the population and consumptions are unprecedented. Almost 7.5 billion population of the world is putting huge pressure on the agriculture and natural resources for different types of demands, not only for development purpose, but for everything. We are dependent upon natural resources. And besides, we are doing lots of agriculture. 38% of the earth's surface is used under agriculture. And still, billion of people are still chronically malnourished. They have to do lots of work day-to-day basis to earn the bread and butter at the end. And still, billion of people are malnourished. We are simultaneously degrading land, water resources. We are uh, biodiversity loss, and the climate is changing. That is now established fact. And under these, we are raising more and more demand. So therefore, to meet the world's food security, we have to grow sustainably. Food production has to grow, no doubt about it. There is no compromise on it. Population is increasing, food demands are increasing, so we need to grow more and more food. But at the same time, we have to take care that the agricultural footprint, that means the impact of agriculture on environment, should be lesser, because agriculture land will increase to provide more and more food. It will have environmental impacts. There is a 3% increase between the 1985 and 2005. It's a small fraction, 3% of the earth now, but you see how much millions of hectares of land will be under agriculture by cutting of trees, by cutting of other areas. We can see the impact of agriculture in two sectors. Number one, when we do agricultural expansion, and when we do agricultural intensification. Okay, so environmental impacts are there. When we expand agricultural area more and more, that means when we bring more, when croplands and pastures are extended into new areas, that means maybe by cutting of trees or deforestation, we are affecting the habitats of biodiversity. So we are reducing the natural habitats, ecosystem services. We all know what are the ecosystem services we have: air, humus content, soil productivity, air, quality air, medicines, so many things. But when we extend agriculture into these areas, we compromise with these. We compromise with the biodiversity. And these trees or forest areas which store are carbon sink, contributes in carbon sinking. So obviously carbon emission will be more, and soil conditions which are improved by these natural resources are reduced. And you can see worldwide agriculture has cleared 70% of the grasslands, 50% of the savanna lands in Africa, 45% of the temperate deciduous forest. All have been compromised on the verge of, you can say, agriculture. On the other hand, we are also trying to get more and more output from the land. That means we are trying to intensify the agricultural activity. So agricultural intensification is the practice in which existing lands are managed to be more productive. Maybe more and more irrigation facilities, more and more fertilizers as inputs are given to get more production, and more machineries are involved in the process to take more and number of crops within the same year. And if you will go by facts, you will see in last 50 years, world's irrigated cropland area roughly doubled. And the fertilizer use has increased by 500%. And this intensification, no doubt the food production has increased, but has also caused water and land degradation, increased energy use, and widespread pollution. So agricultural intensification and simultaneously agricultural expansions, both are major challenges. However, they are required, but still you must be talking that I'm doing a dualistic thing. Both of them are contributing to climate change. And it is said almost 30 to 35% of global greenhouse gas emissions are from agriculture sector, particularly from tropical deforestations and the cultivation, rice cultivation. You will find lots of articles that how rice cultivation is contributing to the greenhouse gas emissions. Fertilized soils, when rice is cropped into the flooded water, it interacts the ecosystem, the fertilizers, soil, and rice the extracts, or you can say nitrous oxide, which is one of the component of greenhouse gases. So agriculture is also putting lots of impact on agriculture, on the environment. And no doubt about it, we require sustainability. And there are models on it that what we want, agricultural development or agricultural sustainability. If you will see this diagram, you see one of the things like we all want that agricultural production should increase. This is minimum goal for 2015 that we want to increase food production. We want to increase agriculture production. We also want to provide access to food to all. And we also need to create resilient agricultural system. But in achieving these things, what we have done, we have excessed greenhouse gas emission is there. Environmental conservation has not been able to do many things. We have done lots of activities in this sector, but what we have got, biodiversity loss, beyond the limits of the carrying capacity of the ecosystem, unsustainable water withdrawals, water pollution. We don't want this kind of development. That on the other side, one hand, we have to increase the agricultural production, and on the other side, we are emitting lots of greenhouse gases. We are experiencing biodiversity loss. Groundwater is depleting. We don't want that kind of development. What we want, that on the one side, we should achieve all these goals, and on the opposite side, we have minimum impact, minimum greenhouse gases emissions, very less impact on the environment. So if on the one side we want improving production, we have affected our environment. And lots of environmental conservation strategies have also not been able to provide sufficient food production. So therefore, if we want to achieve food security as well as environmental sustainability, agriculture system must have to address both the issues. Agricultural development has to take place, but in a sustainable way, so that it has least impact on the soil, on the forest ecosystem, on the biodiversity, on the climate. Then we will be able to achieve agricultural sustainability. Now, having this background, coming on to the India side, let's understand first what agriculture. I think most of you knows that India, like other developing countries, is also dependent upon agriculture. It is one of the important pillar of Indian economy. And agriculture has always been the focus of Indian policymakers, because there are two reasons. One, that large number of population derives employment from this particular sector, that is agriculture. And second reason is that most of the people in this sector are poor. The percentage, the people engaged in this particular sector have been maximum, and this percentage is declining. I will share you one more slide in the end, that the percentage of people engaged in this agriculture sector has always been more than 50% till today. And it contributes at present around 17.5% of the GDP. And obviously, it is important for the country that we must plan for self-sufficiency in food. And it needs to be increased substantially, because the population of the country, which is around 1.3 billion at present, going to be 1.6 billion, more than that by the 2050. In the next 3 decades, I think 0.3 billion people will be added into the country's population. And to ensure food security, we have to increase agricultural production. Then what will be the ways by which we achieve self-sufficiency, sufficient amount of food, and along with sustainability of natural resources like agricultural land. Both the issues has to be tackled parallelly. I'll give you certain facts so that you can understand the scenario, what is happening actually. What is happening? Earlier, when after the independence, you can say the agriculture sector was having a negative growth rate. But after 1958 until today, it has been positive, except the 2002 because of the drought year. But the green revolution, which is called as a milestone or benchmark in the agriculture sector, we have grown substantially, impressive growth rate. However, it has been fluctuating over the time period. But the growth rate of agriculture has been fluctuating, but the contribution to the total GDP is continuously declining. You can say in the earlier, in the 54, 55, almost 45% or more than 45% to 50% के बीच में agriculture was contributing to the GDP, and now it has declined to 18%. However, you see, agriculture production has increased, mechanization has increased, everything has improved, but the contribution to GDP from the agriculture sector is continuously declining till today, and it is going to decline because this manufacturing and secondary and tertiary sectors are emerging. Out of the total cropped area which we have in the country, almost 43% of it is net crop area, and 70% of Indian live in rural areas who are totally dependent upon agriculture for their livelihood security. Rural population I'm talking about. And you will be happy to know that India is among the top producers of several crops like wheat, rice, pulses, sugarcane, and cotton. We are the highest producer of milk and second highest in the production of fruits and vegetables. In 2013, India contributed 25% of the world pulses production, the highest for any one country. 22% of the rice production. We are second in the rice production. Who is the first? I think all of you know, China. And 13% of the wheat production. So we are on the top. We are in the toppers list. But if you will see the trend of rice production and yield, you see the production of rice, I think the trend line says itself. Production has increased 430% from 1950 to 2040. Rice was around 20 million tons in 1950, and now it is 106 million tons in around 13 and 14. But on the other side, there is one more point that is called yield, called productivity. Productivity per unit of land has been also continuously rising. But we are always say we are food insecure. What you can do? The production is increasing, yield is increasing, and where we are lacking. The yield of rice has been continuously rising. During 1950, it was 668 kilogram of rice produced from 1 hectare of land, 668 around. And now it is almost 4 times, 2424 kilograms of rice per unit of land, because of huge amount of technology which was introduced during Green Revolution and later years through the planning process, high yielding varieties of seeds, providing irrigation facilities, and new methods of production, chemical fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, urea, so many things. The production has been good, yield is improving. When we see about wheat, which is one of the staple food for the majority of Indian states, and the total production of wheat is also on increasing side in the country. With the introduction of high yielding varieties of seeds, the production has gone from 11 million tons during the Green Revolution period to 17 million in a year. You see the jump of 6 million tons, and now we are around 88.94 million tons in 2014. Almost 5 times increase in the last 60, 70 years. But is it rational? It is good enough? That has to be seen. If you will see if you will talk about yield, from 887 kilogram of wheat produced in 1 hectare, now it is 1103. I think not in the 67 and 68, means just about after the Green Revolution, and now it is 3000, almost 3 times. So if you go back and you will see 4 times increase in rice product in the rice yield, and almost 3 times increase in the production of wheat. So production is good, yield we are improving, but is it the slope or not? That has to be, that is the issue, that's the concern. Now, you have understood the background, you have understood the agricultural scenario in India. Moving on to the core topic, agricultural sustainability. Agriculture has to deliver sufficient food along with proper nutrition. We need quality food. We doesn't want that it should be full of urea, full of chemical fertilizers. It is going to have negative impacts on our health, on our environment, on our life expectancy, on our food habits, multiplier impact on our productivity. To meet the projected demands of population growth and increasing consumption, we have to double it as soon as possible, because the population is increasing continuously. Along with production, we have to focus upon distribution and accessibility, that everyone, still 1/3 population is living below poverty line. They should also be ensured food security through sustainable goals or whatever goals will be in the upcoming decades. India requires tremendous changes in the agriculture sector. Agricultural transformation is very much required, because we have to cut greenhouse gas emissions from agricultural change. Because when agriculture will expand, land use, land cover change, the land which was suitable for a particular use is now use of different type, may be suitable, may not be suitable, isn't it? We have to see, and we have to reduce biodiversity and habitat loss, as I said in the earlier time. So you can understand that towards what I am hinting, what should be done. We have to reduce unsustainable water withdrawals. These are issues, water pollution, environmental issues, and lots of awareness. Every day there is one lecture or another type of lecture is held somewhere in some university or some college or somewhere related to hinting this issue. But the time has come where we have to convert our knowledge into action. It has to go on land. It has to go on the ground. So what are the issues? What are the ways? Sorry. I have suggested very less. We will try and understand that can we do it? Because the study area for my today's topic was large. So obviously more larger contexts have to be taken into consideration while suggesting ways to achieve agricultural sustainability. Because maybe if a small area is there, there will be small solutions, locally suitable solutions. But when we see by and large the country and its agricultural sector and achieving the sustainability on the same line, we have to take large measures. And one of them is stop expanding agriculture, reducing yield gaps, We have to improve agricultural efficiency. We have to reduce our wastage from the food. And there are other measures which are locally, regionally suitable. Now understand what is happening and what we can do. As I mentioned, expansion, agricultural expansion means conversion of agricultural land into non-agricultural land used to agricultural use. Then it is called agriculture is expanding. And agriculture has lots of impacts, which we have discussed. But try to think, by expanding agriculture or ending the expansion, if we stop expanding agriculture, will it affect food supply? If we will not bring more and more land into agriculture, will the food supply will be shortened or will be less? I think various researchers have shown that the food production benefits are often limited, very less, no impact, not very significant impact, not at all. But when compared, particularly when we compare environmental damages with that, if you expand your agriculture in comparison to the impact you are putting on the environment, the benefits will be less. So what is the use of expanding agriculture if we are not going to help our environment? We are compromising with our environment only, nothing else. Just a minute. Yes. So more environmental impact instead of when we go for expanding agriculture. So it is better to stop expanding agriculture, because you see net zone area, when we talk about net zone area, it was 42%, now it is 46%. I think you will say only 4% if increase were in 1950 to 2050, almost 50 plus 15, 60, 65 years. But this 3-4% is a lot. Almost 30 million hectare area it includes. 4%. So huge amount of, and you see, not available for cultivation. The area in 1950-51, the area was not available for cultivation, but now it is only 14%. So that means there is a gain. 3% area is now available for other uses. Maybe from this area has moved into this particular category, net zone area. And the forest have increased. You can also say that it has been forest, but you all know the reality. Definitely it would have not gone into that category. Other categories are also experiencing increase or decrease, but agriculture has expanded, no doubt on it. You see here, the net zone area was 118.75 million. Now it is 140. I just said 4% increase, but it includes around 20 to 22 million hectares of land. Net zone area. And if you will see total cropped area, which was around 131, now it is around 198. So gain of 58.3. Area sown more than once, because total cropped area also includes net sown area and the gross cropped area. So area sown more than once is 58. That means we are putting more and more pressure on the agricultural land to produce it more, to fulfill our requirements, not of the future, of the current generation itself. You see, net irrigated area, only 20 million hectare, and now it's 68 million hectare. So irrigation facilities have improved a lot. And in doing this, what we have done, the arable land has increased earlier, and now it is on decreasing side. You can ask this particular question: what is the difference between agricultural land, which we have just talked about, and arable land? Agricultural land which is available in documents, it is available. It is entitlements are that this is agricultural land. but the whole agricultural land may be not under cultivation. So the area which is under cultivation, that is arable land. Like my land in village is agricultural land, but we are not cropping it. We are not doing it. So that is not arable land. So arable land includes all lands that is under temporary crops, double crops, or like that. But you see, this is interesting statistics. I just downloaded 2-3 days back. BRC has given me an interesting topic, which made me little bit pressurized to think over it more seriously. So arable land, percentage of land area. I think it was around 55, or you can say between 54 to 55 percent of the agricultural land. Around, I think the maximum bar shows in 1991. And after that, there is a continuous decline, rapid decline, I think 55 to 52%. Arable land is decreasing, means the area under agriculture. And if you will talk about per person availability of agricultural land, this is continuously declining. Oh my God, what is happening? 0.35 hectare per person somewhere in 1963 to 0.1 hectare in 2018 around. 0.1 hectare per person available, and you have to fulfill your demands, needs, greeds, everything from that patch of land. That is your on an average availability. And you see, we have seen a good progress, production increase, yield increase, everything is increasing. Arable land is decreasing. Further, we are losing land. We are losing land. The most productive arable lands are the most vulnerable. I think soil cover is the key. The director of the Center for Sustainable Agriculture in Hyderabad says that. And you see what he is saying. The country's farm policy over the years has encouraged resource intensive. Water is given. Fertilizers have been given. Resource intensive, chemical and energy intensive cropping patterns and practices, which work well in irrigated farms. Where irrigation is there, it works well, but these are unsustainable in rain-fed farms. Where they are given, where it's no irrigation available, they will be hampered. You see, almost 30% of India's land is under desertification. But I'm not bothered about it, but I'm much bothered about it, these plains, particularly these plains, where salinization and alkalinization and waterlogging are emerging as one of the biggest challenges. You see the purple color and the light sky blue color, waterlogging and salinization and alkalinization, and water erosion into these particular rain-fed agricultural area. This is called the India's food security depends upon these areas. However, it is said, I heard from my supervisor that it can feed 60% population of the world, this Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra plains. But these challenges, salinization, alkalinization, because you see, chemical intensive, agriculture, pesticides, irrigation, everything is given. But they are also experiencing the environmental issues, land degradation. That's what I'm saying. We are expanding, stop expanding, focus on, now we have to focus on the crop yields. This is the another suggestion which I can say. If we can stop expanding and focus on increasing yield gap, reducing yield gap, because the productivity potential is high of a particular land, but we are producing, actually the production is less. So I hope you have understood yield gap. Yield gap is the difference between crop yields observed at any location and the crop's potential yield. That means how much that particular land can produce potential and how much it is actually producing. The difference of it is called yield gap. And you will see this World Bank data. India, in terms of cereal yield, means kilogram per hectare, which includes the productivity of wheat, rice, maize, barley, oats, rye, millet, sorghum, means all cereals are included. Combined yield, you see the gap between our neighbors, China and Japan. You see, and earlier between China, Japan, and India, the differences were quite less. I think with China as well. But now you will find the huge gap. We are developing or we are improving our yields very, very slow. We can't give excuse that we are the larger country. China is also large. We can give excuse that the politics, policies, yes. But obviously, the top-bottom approach and bottom-up approach has to be taken into consideration in both ways. But we have to focus on not on expanding agriculture, but we have to focus more on increasing yield gaps. Yield gap has to be reduced so that we can produce more and more agriculture production of rice, wheat, or other cereals and food grains and oil seeds. Now, I'll give you some specific data of about two particular crops, that is wheat and rice, and particularly which is irrigated rice and rain-fed rice, and irrigated wheat and rain-fed wheat. And this is the average of almost 25 years. This is potential, this is actual, and this is the gap. And you will see we are underperformed. The potential yield of irrigated rice is 9 tons per hectare. That means per hectare, we can produce 9 tons of rice while the fields are irrigated. But how much we are producing? Only 4.4, or you can say half of it. So half, we are 50%. We are performing only 50% when it comes to the irrigated rice. But when it comes to the rain-fed rice, you see the potential is also less. Obviously, 6.4, water is uncertain. But you see, actual is also less, 2.8 tons per hectare. So gap is still 3.6 tons per hectare. You see, this is quite achievable, and this is much more than what we are actually producing. What we are actually producing, it is much more than that. And if you will see the rain-fed rice, irrigated wheat, the situation is much more worse. We can produce 2.8 million. We can produce 6.4, but we are just producing 2.8 tons. So gap is 3.6 tons per hectare. And when it comes to rain-fed wheat, the situation is much more. We are having a potential of around 4.9 tons per hectare. We can produce it, but we are producing only 1 ton. So gap is so high, 3.9 tons. The problem is here. We have to focus on reducing yield gap. This yield gap should be minimum. We have to work on our potential. The suggestion is that we have significant opportunities to increase yield across many parts of India, where nutrient and water limitation seems to be strongest. Again, the gains in productivity, we have to focus on maximum yield of key crops like wheat and rice. And one of them is genetic improvements. Like this is conventional plant. This is after high yielding improved plant. You see the rice in this, the amount of rice in this, and you see low tillering idiotype new plant type of rice. This is genetically improvements. I don't know their negatives in the future, but what I came through with the literature, that they are helping in faster and more precise breeding. They give us more crop yields and development of more nutritious food, and decreased need for herbicides and pesticides. So I think this is the area of research for the biologist or chemistry people or other agricultural scientists. They must be looking at their positives and negatives. But I think we should go for it until and unless there are huge negative impacts. Further, we can go for closing yield gaps without environmental degradation. Is very important, as I have already said, that it should be less environmental impact. So what we can do, I think we can reform our conventional agriculture, and we can adopt lessons from organic system and go for precision agriculture. And I think SAIARD is working towards that. One of the area of research for them is on remote sensing and GIS. They are working in training the trainers. They are preparing soil maps. They can prepare crop combination, crop soil condition map. They can produce yield, potential yield map. And then this data can be given models, treatment is required, GPS, fertilization, how much fertilization is required, how much chemical things are required, what is the carrying capacity or soil suitability analysis. So these things will help to overcome considerable economic and social challenges. But no doubt about it that this technique is not accessible to all. But we have to make certain policies. I think all of you, the students, are somewhere attached directly or indirectly with remote sensing, GIS, and GPS. In our daily life, now GPS has entered. So I think the precision agricultural activities with all the precisions involved should be carried out so that we can have minimum impact, more production, more on the small amount of land. We can go for the third one, efficient use of resources in agriculture. I think you know that irrigation, when irrigation was introduced to Indira Gandhi Canal or somewhere else, people used to give huge amount of water to their agriculture. Now water logging, salinization, and alkalization is faced. So we have to reduce unsustainable uses of water. We have to control our nutrients application and agricultural chemicals. We have to manage our natural resources or water and land management practices for irrigation efficiency. When I say efficient use of resources, means natural resources, land, water, basic resources. We have to curtail off-field evaporative losses from water storage and transport, on-field losses through mulching. Now you can see here the drip irrigation is given. Sprinkler irrigations are now quite in frequent use. And this is mulching, which reduces a huge amount of water, evaporation losses. So therefore, targeted policy and management in certain regions will improve and balance between yield and the local environment. And such actions can include excessive fertilizer use, improving manure management, capturing excess nutrients, recycling, wetland restoration. There are so many methods, but I'm just focusing on the thematic. We should go for efficiency, efficient use of resources. We should not take for granted that if we are living in a water surplus area, we should give huge amount of water to the land or for agriculture. We should have to come out with this kind of mindset. The fourth one is food wastage. That was from other side. This is the another side. I think we are all engaged in this. We know that large volume of food is never consumed. We take lots of food in parties and all. We take half of it, consume half of it, and half of the things goes into the bin. FAO study says that about 1/3 of food is never consumed. You see, 1/3. And others have said as much as half of all food grown is lost. And some perishable commodities which gets wasted very soon have post-harvest losses of up to 100%. Some perishable commodities gets 100% wasted. And the role, obviously, 40% people in the developing countries of food post-harvest or during processing, because of developing countries lacks in storage and transportation facilities. The items are not sent in time. And I'll give you one example of Safal stores in the country. There are 40% of food which is produced in India gets wasted. And it is said in the United Nations report that about 190 million Indians remain undernourished, and it is further estimated that the value of this food which gets wasted, it's around 92,000 crores per annum. And the Safal outlet, it is said on an average almost 18-19 kilograms of food gets disposed of by one Safal outlet daily. That means almost 7.5 tons of food is discarded daily across 400 Safal outlets in Delhi. And this is not the case of Delhi. This is the scenario across the urban areas. We have 53 million cities in the country. This amount will not be less. It is increasing. Approximately 84.7% of the total food waste recorded is thrown in the bin. 84.7% of total food waste which is recorded is received in the bins, and rest is only few percentages to given to the people. Like there are lots of NGOs are engaged to manage food wastages, and some animals are there. And it is said if this wastage is diverted, it can feed around 2,000 people daily. So small things has to be done locally and should be applied on a large scale. This is my concern. Solution I have given you 4. I think there are many more which we can discuss, but I think according to the time, these are sufficient. My personal concern is that you can see the highlighted box, the number of cultivators, the percentage of people engaged in agricultural activities are decreasing day by day. Laborers are increasing. That means the people are no more interested in growing agriculture on their own land, but they are happy to work. I'm not saying the same, but the percentage of people who are actually cultivators are reduced over the time period. 52.66. What I'm saying that the son of a farmer doesn't want to become a farmer. Yes, the son of a politician, son of a teacher or a doctor wants to be the same as their parents or father. But very few cases when the son of a farmer wants to become. However, I'm not saying that everybody should become. Everybody has the freedom and opportunity to do whatever he or she is interested in. But when I talk about agricultural sustainability, the things comes in my mind, then who in future, who is going to grow food for us if everybody will come in secondary and tertiary sector? Then nobody else of us, agriculture will not remain as a profession, traditional profession. I think it will become a business. It will become a business in future. And when it comes into the form of business or in economic terms, people want maximum benefits at the lowest cost. And I think, I don't know, the land degradation will be more at that time or less. I cannot say in the future what will happen, but I can only see at present, if we will focus on these issues, I think to a certain extent, we will be able to contribute in achieving agricultural sustainability. Yes, we cannot see one policy in isolation. All strategies are needed. No single strategy which I have suggested is sufficient. Not only these, but there are many others which has to bring into the picture. And they have to be translated them into action. We should not be limited to only theoretical knowledge. All of us are aware. I think I may not be talking of any new thing, but I might have made you a little bit more aware about the issue, that the issue is there. We have to do something in the form of an action. We have to improve the resilience, not only of us doing yoga. We should not become resilient to pandemics and other things. The agricultural systems also need to be made resilient so that they can fight with land degradation, soil erosion, chemical fertilizers, and everything. High efficiency industrialized agriculture has many benefits, but it is also on the same side vulnerable to disaster, including climatic disturbances, disasters, economic calamities, etc. The search for agricultural solutions should be remain technology neutral. If we find that technology is good, then we should go for it. If we think that for my farm or my agriculture technology is not good, then I should be neutral. It depends. Why I'm saying that one of the reasons which I have read the newspaper, the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, and I'm related to it with agriculture production. It is said that there is a one policy in Sri Lanka, there was that we should go organic. Organic agriculture should be promoted and should be 100% organic. I said that organic farming and organic agriculture, the production will be low. Yes, it is closer to the sustainability, but the production is low. Population is increasing. We can't go for that 100% organic. But we can minimize the impacts which we have at present in the form of climate change or any other thing, habitat loss or biodiversity loss or loss of agricultural land, loss of productive soil. We can't go in that kind of situation. And I have also heard the news yesterday night at the news that every government servant has to work for 1 day in agriculture sector in Sri Lanka. They have said that. One government servant has to work 1 day in the agriculture. They have to give their contribution into that. Thank you, BRC, for giving me this such a nice topic. There are multiple paths to improve the production. There are several. John Nash has said that for a single problem, there are thousands of solutions, not 3, 4, 5, 6 solutions. Food security, environmental performance of agriculture, we should not be locked into a single approach, whether it should be conventional, genetically modified, or organic. Do it, all are necessary. But we have to take care the other side of the coin into consideration in throughout our approach. Because the challenges which we are facing or which agriculture is facing today are unlike anything we have experienced before. We require revolutionary approaches to solve food production and sustainability problems on the same table, same time, similar approach. So therefore, I can say new agricultural system must deliver more human values to those who need it most with the least environmental harm. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू, कांग्रेचुलेशन आरके अभय सर, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको. You are presented very nice on agriculture and sustainability in India, and the soil degradation is also related to agriculture. Please focus in this also. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rameshwari, for your comments.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Abhay, for delivering such a wonderful, mesmerizing lecture on the agriculture and the sustainable issues related to the agriculture particularly. And you have all through you have focused on the four corners of the square. What should be what should be the modalities in practicing agriculture, how we should think the agricultural practice, and what should be the techniques, and what are the situations at now in the present global world. So definitely I expect that this type of lecture and this type of presentation will definitely help our young geographers, including the young researchers, those who would like to work in future, particularly in research sector. Maybe and it's not in agriculture sector, but also in any case of research sector, you have to find out the all through conditions, and you have to go through the all through situations. What on the basis of that you come to the annotations. What should be the actual planning and procedure in case of application. Otherwise, we can't go for the sustainable term. We ultimately go for the achieve the sustainable development. So I saw that several students have joined, several research scholars have joined, and somebody during the lecture already have raised their hands. First, I would like to invite or request Mr. Raj Kumar, if you kindly come in front of us and also give your introduction as well as your question to Dr. Abhay, please. Mr. Raj Kumar, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Yes. Are
Raj,
you here?
Mahesh Chandraji is here. Rajkumar is here. I think
Yes,
I can.
Yes, Rajkumar ji, please. You have raised your hands. Hope you have any query, please. Otherwise, we will go for our next the students. So Gaurav is also joined. Hi, Gaurav.
Acha, okay.
Thanks for
Hello,
joining.
Gaurav.
PRC, hello, Abhay sir.
Hello,
What-
ji. Hello.
So it's really good to see some people associated in our friend circle too, and
Yes.
our students. Yeah, Rajkumar ji, please. आप अपना वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए एंड आपका जो क्वेरीज है आप अपने थोड़ा परिचय देके उसको बताइए प्लीज.
I think it looks good when videos is opened while
Yes.
interacting like Mahesh Chandraji.
राजकुमार अभय जी, राजकुमार रजक जी, आप बोलिए, भागलपुर से है, रिसर्च स्कॉलर, बोलिए यहाँ पर.
माइक्रोफोन ऑन कीजिए.
जी सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर. जी सर, यहाँ एक कृषि प्रधान ये भी एरिया है और यहाँ बहुत ही पिछड़ा कृषि है और यहाँ पे सबसे हर एक फसल बहुत अच्छा होता है. यहाँ पे गन्ना से लेके दलहन, तिलहन और गेहूं, मक्का सभी फसल होते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ मार्केट सही उपलब्ध नहीं होता है और यहाँ पे बहुत अनाज बर्बाद भी होता है. और ये फ्लड एरिया भी है, भागलपुर की.
भागलपुर के. अच्छा
जी.
तो आपका क्वेरीज क्या है?
मेरा ये जी मेरा ये है कि कृषि से जो उत्पादन हो रही है उनका जो है आगे जो है बहुत ये नहीं, उसका जो भी आगे बनना चाहिए मटेरियल, अलग अलग सब मटेरियल बन करके वो सेल होना चाहिए. देश में बहुत जगह की बहुत सारा चीज उपलब्ध नहीं है, जैसे दक्षिण भारत में या दक्कन प्रदेश में या फिर बहुत जगह का जलवायु ऐसा है कि इतना अच्छा यहाँ बहुत अच्छा फल भी होता है. आम से लेकर के आम जामुन बहुत नामी है यहाँ का, जर्दालू आम.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Now,
you for your observations.
Thank you for joining. Now I request to our students and scholars to ask any queries. Yes, Abhay sir. Tulika, are you here?
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Raj. आई थिंक जो राजकुमार बोल रहे हैं वो एक लोकल स्टडी एरिया, जैसे अगर हम लोग डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे बात करें तो यस, when we have studied basis of agriculture. तो जब हम basis of agriculture सुनते हैं तो there are three factors: physical factors, socio-economic factors, and technological factors, based on which agriculture is dependent upon these factors in any region. तो उन्होंने सही बताया कि उस रीजन में एक मार्केट जो है अवेलेबिलिटी होना एक समस्या है, और ये रीजनल प्रॉब्लम्स है. मार्केट सिर्फ आई थिंक मुझे नहीं लगता है, इन ए लार्जर कॉन्टेक्स्ट व्हेन आई सी, तो आई थिंक भागलपुर इज इन लोअर गंगा प्लेन और मिडिल गंगा प्लेन एरिया. तो इस एरिया में व्हेन एग्रीकल्चर इज लॉट ह्यूज, यहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजिकल फोर्सेस और इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स को ज्यादा वैल्यू देने की ज्यादा जरूरत है, क्योंकि जब तक लोगों को मार्केट इकोनॉमिक फैक्टर्स या टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट नहीं किया जाएगा, तब तक यहाँ की जो ईल्ड गैप्स हैं उनको नहीं हम लोग फुलफिल कर सकते हैं. आई सेड क्रॉप ईल्ड गैप जो है इसी रीजन का, मतलब इंडस गंगा ब्रह्मपुत्र प्लेन का जो है, उसके पोटेंशियल से बहुत कम है. आई थिंक मेरे, अगर मैं इस पे कोशिश करूंगा अब एक अच्छा सा कुछ लिखने की, कि इंडिया का स्टेट वाइज क्या क्रॉप ईल्ड गैप है इन पर्टिकुलर क्रॉप्स, एंड देन आई विल कम टू यू बीआरसी की क्या हम लोग उसमें मिलता है क्या नहीं मिलता है. दैट इज व्हाई आई एम थैंकिंग यू वंस अगेन कि भाई ये टॉपिक ऐसा था जो आई वाज नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड. हाँ, लोकल केस स्टडीज मैंने बहुत काम किया है सस्टेनेबिलिटी पे. आई हैव डन इन केंदुझर प्लेटो, आई हैव डन इन सिद्धार्थ नगर, आई हैव डन इन, ये 4-5 मैंने केस स्टडीज की हैं, बट दे वर ऑल लोकली केस स्टडीज. तो जब मैं लार्जर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखने लगा कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी को कैसे इंश्योर किया जा सकता है, देन ऑब्वियसली सम जनरलाइजेशंस हैज टू बी मेड. और जब भागलपुर की अब जब बात कर रहे हैं राजकुमार की, तो ऑब्वियसली उसके लिए लोकल सॉल्यूशंस बहुत जरूरी हैं. तो राजकुमार की, अगर आप एग्रीकल्चर के सेक्टर में काम कर रहे हैं तो मुझे अच्छा लगेगा कि कभी आप एक ऐसा पेपर लिखें जहाँ पे लोकल सॉल्यूशंस लिखें कि वहाँ की एग्रीकल्चर की सस्टेनेबिलिटी को इंश्योर करने में क्या लोकल सॉल्यूशंस हो सकते हैं. आई थिंक एक एकेडमिशियन की सबसे बड़ी पहचान होती है कि व्हाट इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स थ्रू हिज आर्टिकल्स और राइटिंग्स. तो अगर वो आपके उसके थ्रू से आएगा, आई थिंक दैट विल बी अ वंडरफुल कंट्रीब्यूशन टुवर्ड्स द डिसिप्लिन, टुवर्ड्स द सब्जेक्ट एंड टुवर्ड्स योर स्टडी एरिया. थैंक यू राजकुमार.
Definitely, and आपने बहुत अच्छा एक बात point, you have raised a very wonderful point, because most of the cases our research are continuously doing in the same institutions, but mostly we have to focus right now. I think this is the responsibility for the geographers to find out the each corners and highlight the each corners, especially the remote areas. What are they faced in practical day-to-day life? So, and I'll happy to share in this platform to all of you that we have started a magazine. It will be a quarterly magazine, that is the Urban and River Affairs. Though the term is urban and river, but you know that it's a bigger term where we can include agriculture, each and tourism, each and everything also. So if you want to share your experience, your suggestions, and the situations, whatever you have faced in your particular local areas, either it may be in agriculture sector or cultural sector. So where the first issue I have already published, and we are going to publish our second issue in September, and after that in December also. So you can also share your write-ups, even your letter too, because this magazine will go to the direct, including PMO. We have shared this link of this magazine to the different ministries as well. So in this sense, if you want to share any questions, any suggestions, or any topics related to the any specified issue, we will publish it, and we will definitely circulate it to the ministries, and definitely we'll try to reach your voice or reach your suggestions to the in front of them. So this is the platform. You may visit our website SAIARD, and there SAIARD magazine. If you write on Google SAIARD magazine, then definitely you can get the link, access everything to you. Okay, I see that Akash has raised his hand. Yes, Akash, please.
Yes, sir. I have also question to Abhay sir.
Please, on you.
That yes, sir. I'm on my desktop and I don't have a webcam.
Okay, fine. No, please.
Sir, most often we say about education and also in these days everyone have internet and गाँव गाँव तक अब इंटरनेट पहुंच चुका है और मतलब अब घर बैठ के कोई मतलब अगर मैं घर बैठ के चाहूँ तो सैयद का कोर्स भी कर सकता हूँ, मतलब इंटर्नशिप करके मतलब अच्छा खासा एक एजुकेशन भी ले सकता हूँ। तो एक मतलब कोई मतलब किसी जो एग्रीकल्चर कर रहा है उसका बेटा अगर एजुकेशन ले और उसके बाद वो क्यों चाहेगा कि मतलब जो कल्टीवेशन है उसके उस तरफ जाए। वो चाहेंगे कि वो एजुकेशन लेकर कोई मतलब कोई सॉइल साइंटिस्ट बनना चाहेंगे, कोई और कुछ बनना चाहेंगे। तो इस तरफ से अगर देखा जाए तो एग्रीकल्चर सस्टेनेबिलिटी जो इन फ्यूचर एग्रीकल्चर सस्टेनेबिलिटी धीरे धीरे कम होता जाएगा। तो इसका क्या सोल्यूशन हो सकता है?
आई थिंक मैंने ऐसा नहीं बोला कि लोग एजुकेशन लेंगे और एग्रीकल्चर
अ,
सस्टेनेबिलिटी कम होता चला जाएगा।
मैं थोड़ा शॉर्ट आउट करता हूँ अभय जी। मुझे लगता है आकाश ये बोलना चाहते हैं कि जो फार्मर के बेटे हैं वो अक्सर देखा जाता है वो अगर हायर एजुकेशन मिलते हैं वो एग्रीकल्चर पे नहीं आते। तो बट हमें एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन भी करना है, ठीक है।
Exactly.
So what should be the solution if every farmer's son or daughter would like to go for abroad and other institutions for doing their service sector job? So what will be the results in case of our primary sector?
यही तो सोल्यूशन है, रिड्यूस क्रॉप यील्ड, डोंट फोकस ऑन एक्सपैंड क्रॉप एग्रीकल्चर। अगर एग्रीकल्चरल एरिया ज्यादा रहेगा तो उसको संभालने वाले भी ज्यादा रहेंगे। अगर एग्रीकल्चरल एरिया फिक्स रहेगा तो उसको संभालने वालों की भी कमी जरूरत पड़ेगी। एंड वी विल गो टुवर्ड्स मोर एंड मोर प्रोफेशनलाइजेशन इन एग्रीकल्चर। वी विल नॉट बी लेबर इंटेंसिव एनी मोर इन द फ्यूचर। वी विल बी कैपिटल और टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंटेंसिव। एक ट्रैक्टर ही आपका बहुत सारा लैंड को, यू जस्ट सी इन द वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज एंड यू नो वेरी वेल, आप इसका आंसर जानते हैं ऑलरेडी भी आती, तो मैं इसी के लिए बोल रहा हूँ कि इट इज प्रोफेशनलाइजेशन। हमारी एग्रीकल्चर अभी भी, यू सी, स्टिल मोर देन 50% पीपल आर एंगेज्ड इन एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटी। ऑब्वियसली एकदम से तो वो 10% या 20% हो नहीं जाएगा। अगर उसको 70 ईयर्स यहाँ तक आने में लगे हैं, 70 से 50, आई थिंक अगले 10-50 ईयर्स में और कम होगा, isn't it? But people will adopt these things professionally in future, and they will hire people like me if I am skilled enough to draw a tractor or harvester or threshers like other industries. I think agriculture will also become industry business in which people will be hired, skilled people. तो ऐसे ही होता है। लेकिन हाँ, उसमें ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी का क्वेश्चन अच्छा है कि जब इसको मैंने भी रेज किया है कंसर्न, व्हेन इट विल बिकम अ बिजनेस। हॉर्टिकल्चर में जैसे हो ही रहा है, टी गार्डन्स में जैसे हो ही रहा है शायद, isn't it? When it becomes a profession, people are not much attached with the local matlab what I say, quality of the land, isn't it? They will come, they will use it for maximum benefits, and they will leave it when the productive will be less than the profit, isn't it? At that time किसका वो लैंड है उसकी भी तो कॉस्ट, उसकी वैल्यू कम हो जाएगी। You just come in Haryana and see. I think Gaurav is here. I think all of you know bricklanes. They take away the topsoil of the land and use it in manufacturing the bricklanes. ईंटें जिसे कहते हैं, ईंटों के भट्टे इतने लगे हुए हैं, isn't it? उनको बनाने में। And now the land is totally degraded. It is not able to produce what it was producing earlier. तो क्या होगा उस लैंड का? You just see. It's a big land degradation activity which is quite has become prevalent in the, क्योंकि एग्रीकल्चर पे लैंड जो पीपल हैं वो बाहर काम कर रहे हैं, बच्चे पढ़ने जा रहे हैं, फार्मर उतना मेंटेन नहीं कर पा रहा है, उसकी भी एज हो गई है। तो वो अब क्या करेगा? वो लैंड को सेल ही करेगा। किसको सेल करेगा? ब्रिकलिन्स, जो भी इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट, जो उसे पैसा अच्छा देगा उसको बेच देगा वो। मी टू, आई विल डू द सेम थिंग। अगर मेरा लैंड पड़ा हुआ है और कोई मुझे उसकी अच्छी कॉस्ट देता है एंड आई एम नॉट एबल टू मैनेज इट, आई विल सेल इट सूनर और लेटर। तो ये चैलेंजेस हैं हमारे पास कि कैसे हम करें। आई एम ऑल्सो इन लिटिल बिट डायलेमा।
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So now I request Ms. Sejuti Bose for your query, please.
डॉक्टर महेश चंद्र जी कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
Oh, sure. Mahesh ji, please.
नमस्कार सर।
I have a question, sir. You said
Yes.
to stop agricultural expansion, but nowadays our population is increasing rapidly. So how can we produce sufficient food for this mass population?
I think the solutions were lying somewhere in the increasing, reducing crop yield, bringing efficiency in agricultural products activity, and reducing food wastage. You see, 1/3 of food gets wasted. What should be our contribution living in urban areas? हम लोग इतना food खाते हैं, मतलब, और कितना डस्टबिन में डालते हैं. We are so health aware, छोले भटूरे, but we are also foodies. हम hotels में जाते हैं, restaurants में जाते हैं, we take lots of food, parties में जाते हैं, शादियों में जाते हैं, इतना खाना लेते हैं, और क्या सारा खा लेते हैं? शादियों की बात करते हैं, बाकी सब तो चलो ठीक है. रेस्टोरेंट में तो इट्स अ प्राइस्ड इन्वॉल्व इन इट, तो शाही पनीर एक ही प्लेट लेते हैं, एक ही प्लेट में 3 लोग खा लेते हैं. लेकिन जब शादी में जाते हैं तो एवरीबडी टेक्स सेपरेटली, इंडिविजुअली. बट हाउ मच यू आर कंज्यूम्ड? वी डू नॉट कंज्यूम एवरी ईच. आई थिंक एक स्टेटमेंट मैंने कहीं पढ़ा था, खाइए पूरा पेट भर के खाइए, लेकिन छोड़िए नहीं. Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Mahesh ji, please.
अच्छा, प्रशांत कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
Yeah, Prashant ji, please.
So, good afternoon, all of you. Sir, I want to ask what are the policies that can help farmers to take कि उनको उनका जो प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट लगी है उनको वापस मिल सके. क्योंकि सर मैंने देखा है ऑन द लोकल लेवल, जब मैं गांव में था तो टमाटर का सीजन था, तो वहाँ पे जो फार्मर्स हैं, जब एक सीजन पीक पे होता है तो सारा का सारा प्रोडक्शन मार्केट में जाता है और मार्केट में टमाटर के प्राइस एकदम से नीचे चले जाते हैं. तो सर उनके पास इतनी कॉस्ट भी नहीं होती कि वो एक लेबर लगा के अपने जो लैंड है उनसे टमाटर को हार्वेस्ट तक कर सकें. तो वो जितना भी उन्होंने पैसा लगाया है वो उसी खेत में पड़ा पड़ा सड़ जाता है. So you are talking about increasing the yield gap. So people are working to increase the production, but when the production came in market, the price start reducing day by day, and farmers can't even afford to pick fruits or vegetables from their land. What you can suggest to with this
Actually,
problem?
इंटरेस्टिंग है कि हम लोग उतना उगा लेते हैं, फिर संभालना मुश्किल हो जाता है. कि बिकॉज फार्मर्स आर नाउ नॉट लैंड ड्रिवन. व्हाट लैंड इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू डू, वी आर नॉट वर्किंग ऑन इट्स पोटेंशियल. एग्रीकल्चर लैंड सूटेबल है किसके लिए? वीट के लिए, राइस के लिए. और हम क्या ग्रो कर रहे हैं? कॉटन, बिकॉज इट इज गिविंग यू मोर कैश. अगर आप सदर्न हरियाणा में देखो तो सब लोग टमाटर उगाना शुरू कर देंगे विंटर में, सबके सब लोग, बिकॉज द प्राइसेस ऑफ टोमेटोज ऑन हाइक ड्यूरिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर पीरियड एंड पीपल अर्न्स lakhs of rupees. बट व्हाट हैपेंड? एकदम से जब सप्लाई इंक्रीज हो जाता है तो डिमांड गिर जाता है, प्राइस नीचे आ जाता है. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस. तो जब कॉस्ट, उनको तो लगता है कि इस बार भारी रेनफॉल ऐसा हो जाएगा कि प्रोडक्शन जो है वो कोलैप्स कर जाएगा और टोमेटोज की जो प्राइसेस हैं वो बढ़ जाएंगी. In expectation, it's a game theory. Somewhere I will tell you game theory क्या है, how farmer works. Farmers nowadays doesn't work what agriculture or land is asking to do it on it. But farmers are now market driven. कि मार्केट क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है कि इस बार जो है टोमेटो उगाने से ज्यादा पैसा मिलेगा या ककम्बर या फिर वेजिटेबल में कौन सा आइटम हो सकता है जो उसको ज्यादा कैश दे सकता है. They are now market driven. अगर हमें सस्टेनेबल रहना है तो यस, यू आस्क्ड अर्लियर कि भाई पॉलिसीज क्या हो सकती है, कि उनका मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस एक है ना पॉलिसी. इतना बड़ा डिस्कशन हुआ था उस पर, सब लोग जानते हैं. बट मैंने जो लोकल केस स्टडीज में जो मैंने पाया है, फार्मर्स आर नॉट गेटिंग द अमाउंट विच दे आर पुटिंग इन फॉर देयर एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्शन. द बेनिफिट्स are very low, and it is the intermediaries or people in between the farmer and the consumers के बीच में जो लोग हैं सबसे ज्यादा बेनिफिट वो उठाते हैं. ठीक है, तो तो पॉलिसीज तो हैं बच्चे, लेकिन उन पॉलिसीज के प्रॉपर एग्जीक्यूशन कितने हैं उसके भी बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस हैं। और फार्मर को अपनी सस्टेनेबिलिटी के बारे में सोचना चाहिए, अपने लैंड की सस्टेनेबिलिटी के बारे में सोचना चाहिए। फार्मर्स अगर मार्केट से ड्रिवन होगा तो उसकी भी एग्रीकल्चर लैंड की एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्टिविटी सूनर और लेटर विल गो डाउन, और एक टाइम ऐसा आएगा जब वो टमाटर भी नहीं उगेंगे एक टाइम।
Sir, somehow I think there are some policy related issues. I mean the planning related issues. Suppose अगर एक घर बनाने से पहले जो ब्लूप्रिंट होना चाहिए, जो जिसके तौर पे हम एक घर बनाते हैं, कहाँ पे ये रहेगा, कहाँ पे वो रहेगा, तो वैसा सीक्वेंस मुझे लगता नहीं कि एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिस में एक्चुअली होता है। अगर ये होता तो कितना हमारा डिमांड है, कोई डिमांड स्पेसिफिक एग्रीकल्चर सिस्टम तो यहाँ पे हमारा ऐसा होता नहीं। इवन जो प्लानिंग रिलेटेड जो होना चाहिए सस्टेनेबल के, आप जैसे बोल रहे थे, जितना हमें जरूरी है उससे ज्यादा अगर उगा लिए तो अल्टीमेटली फार्मर रास्ते पे आ जाते हैं। ठीक है, वो आलू रास्ते में हम कई बार देखे, गन्ने आलू रास्ते में फेंक रहा है, तो इट्स वन काइंड ऑफ wastage of food also. It's not only food but also in case of money as well as labor, I think. So that kind of, I think the agriculture should be in that sense that there should be a proper policy कि अच्छा इतना साल है, इतना हमें उगाना पड़ेगा। जैसे हम करते हैं कुछ खर्चे जितना होता है उससे थोड़ा कुछ संभाल के रखते हैं ताकि अगर कोई आपद आ जाए तो हम उसमें खर्चा कर सकते हैं। बट आई थिंक इन केस ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर फार्मर सेक्टर, एंड यहाँ पे अभी काफी सारे टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट हो गए इंडिपेंडेंस डे के बाद भी, but still I don't you think that we are still moving in the same traditional way somehow in case of the lower level farmer sector? 8 लेवल तक फार्मर हो गए, अपग्रेड हो गए, और कुछ लेवल का फार्मर्स है जो अभी तक उतना एजुकेटेड नहीं हो रहा है, मिडिल मैन उनको हैंडल कर रहा है ज्यादातर, एंड ये मिडिल मैन का सिस्टम अभी तक हमारे सिस्टम में घुसे हैं। So that actually creates some loss in case of both of us or also in farmer sectors also. And अगर मैं आपसे ये पूछूं कि आगे चल के ये सिस्टम को डेवलप और भी अच्छा करना है और इस बीच में से मिडिल मैन को हटा के डायरेक्ट फार्मर के साथ हम कनेक्ट हो सके, तो इसके रिगार्डिंग आपका क्या सजेशन रहेगा?
ये लास्ट लाइन में स्किप कर गया, क्या बोल रहे थे आप बीआरसी?
मैं बोल रहा था ये मिडिल मैन जैसा जो इशू है, छोटा मोटा जो इशू है, अभी टेक्नोलॉजी इतना एडवांस हो गया है, इतना कुछ हो रहा है, तो इसके रिगार्डिंग इस गैप को मिनिमाइज करने के लिए जो कस्टमर से डायरेक्ट फार्मर्स का ये गैप को मिनिमाइज, आपका क्या सजेशन रहेगा?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to minimize. It's a huge challenge actually, what I will say. क्योंकि फार्मर्स को डायरेक्ट कंज्यूमर से रिलेटेड अगर आप काम करते हो तो आप ये एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो दैट फार्मर्स should also be engaged in cultivating the crops, should also be engaged in transporting the production, should also be engaged in everything till it reaches in the hands of the consumer. I think it is not going to help the farmers. Somewhere it has to be done. I think people has to become aware that for what we are doing, I think the ultimate beneficiary should be the farmers, isn't it? So government should take some policies instead of ensuring MSP must be there, but there should be minimum cost should also be defined for the intermediaries, that what should be the transportation cost for a particular season to take potatoes or rice or wheat from a particular year, from a particular area to a particular market, isn't it? So if the policies for intermediaries, if you will ask me a question that is there any policy for the to control the intermediaries, there is no policy. Farmers के लिए है पॉलिसी, बट वहां पे एग्जीक्यूशन का प्रॉब्लम है, वहां पे इट मतलब एमएसपी इज देयर बट पीपल जो उसको बोलते हैं क्या, दुकान बोलते हैं, गल्ला बोलते हैं, लोकल टर्मिनोलॉजीज में शायद उत्तर प्रदेश की मैं बात करता हूँ, वहां पे सिर्फ उन्हीं लोगों का प्रोडक्शन लिया जाता है, रिसीव किया जाता है जो कि उस दुकान के रिलेटिव्स होते हैं या जानने वाले होते हैं या इन्फ्लुएंशियल लोग होते हैं। जो रियल फार्मर्स है उसका तो वहां पे भी नहीं लिया जाता है। एंड देयर आर सम इनफॉर्मल सेक्टर्स shops, those goes to the farmers land, gives them a particular amount which is quite less than what MSPs has been set, And because the rain is approaching, because the climate is going to be harsh, the food will be wastage. If they will not sell it in time, they will get nothing. So exploitation of farmers is at every place. When they grow less, when they grow more. Because the storage facilities, transportation facilities, I think we should make farmers more, what I say, strong with reference to storage facilities. We should provide them storage facilities and cold storage facilities, and so that they can sustain that production for a longer period, so they can sell it, maybe not in a instantly, but maybe in time, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. Why they are forced to sell it at a single go, isn't it? सो स्टोरेज फैसिलिटीज पे अगर हम काम करें तो आई थिंक मुझे अच्छा लग रहा है कि अगर ऐसा कर सके तो फार्मर्स विल बी एबल टू गेट सम बेनिफिट्स एटलीस्ट. मुझे नहीं पता फार्मर भी, जब व्हेन आई डन फील्ड वर्क इन सिद्धार्थ नगर रिलेटेड टू दिस क्वेश्चन, दे सेड कि सर स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी अगर होती यहाँ पे बनाने के लिए तो हम अपना घर ही ना बना लेते. अभी तो घर बनाने के लिए पैसे नहीं है, स्टोरेज फैसिलिटीज कहाँ से बनाए?
Thank you. So you have raised a very wonderful point, and I will request to write an article for our next issue on the solutions and problems, all that. So thank you. I will no longer extend this conversation, but definitely I want to, but still the time is consumed. And on behalf of SAIARD, I once again heartily give my sincere thanks to you, Professor Abhay, and also all the participants, our interns from the different universities, the professors, those who have joined from the different academic institutions, for this, for joining with us, for hearing this presentation, and also help us and encourage us ultimately to communicate. So thank you, sir. Hope in our next
also on my behalf, I would like to thank Bhumika, SAIARD, BRC especially for inviting me to this forum. I have been associated with this sessions and lecture series earlier. I think you are calling good speakers, and I think sooner or later, I think it should continue. It should continue on regular intervals. The frequency doesn't matter, but it should held in any case. That is the more important. So congratulations and wonderful work you are doing it, and keep going and keep doing that. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you all the participants who heard me silently and not raising any issue or concern. But yes, some interaction with some students, some friends, and some colleagues. I think they have given thought-provoking questions, thought-provoking ideas, and made me to think more on this issue. Sustainability is the ultimate destination. Sustainable development is just an approach to achieve it. Sustainability has to be achieved in any case. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you once again to all the participants. In coming months, we are also coming here with another expertise, with another lecture on another issue. So with this, please join in our next session on July. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.